Let me take you through this because it's one of those moments where you just sit back and go, really? What did I just hear? I mean, the other day Trump is in Egypt. He's there ostensibly for singing something, nobody really knows what. And in the middle of this, he turns to the Egyptian president, the guy he called his favourite dictator during the campaign, and he starts talking about Hillary Clinton in Egypt. Why is Hillary Clinton relevant here? Why bring up the 2016 campaign while standing in Chiaro? That part honestly caught me off guard and I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I paused, blinked, and I thought, did he just do exactly what he did?
We're in a country where a friend of mine is a very powerful leader, and my friend is right here, the president, also the general, you know. Sometimes usually I call him the general because he's both, and he's good at both. And they've done a fantastic job. And they have very little crime, you know, because they don't play games, that's why. They don't play games like we do in the United States with governors that have no idea what they're doing. But they don't have crime. I ask about crime and they almost don't even know what I'm talking about. So it's a great tribute to this man. He's done a fantastic job in bringing this country together, and the United States is with him all the way. Thank you. Okay, all the way, and it's an honor to be with you.
Sir, what will Egypt's role play in the peace process here?
He played a very important role, and they had a very important role with Hamas. In fact, the general was right here, was very instrumental because Hamas respects this country and they respect the leadership of Egypt. So you played a very important role. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Thank you.
President Trump, in Israel just now, you were talking about a possible Iran peace deal. You said, we are ready when you are. Yeah. Is that the ultimate goal with today's signing to get enough?
Not Iran, but I think Iran will come along. They've been battered and bruised, and you know they need some help. They have big sanctions, as you know, tremendous sanctions. I'd love to take the sanctions off when they're ready to talk. But they can't really survive with those sanctions. Those sanctions are very tough. But at some point they're going to say, we want the sanctions off. We're going to end up with peace. I think Iran is going to be fine.
So he's gesturing to this strongman leader saying we've been friends from the beginning during the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton. And he even emphasised it. He almost makes it sound like whatever he's thanking the Egyptian president for is directly tied to Hillary. And that's where it gets interesting, because it's not just idle chatter. There's a story buried in this that connects the 2016 election in a way most people didn't notice at the time. Here's the backstory. During the campaign, Trump's team was running out of money. Like, the lights were literally flickering on the last week of the campaign, and advisors were begging him to put on more of his own money into it. And initially he refused. But then at the height of the campaign, he has this one-on-one meeting with the Egyptian president, and suddenly after this meeting, $10 million.
After President Trump gave his speech at the Israeli parliament today, he then, you might have seen, he went to Egypt to go sign things. We don't exactly know what the things were that he signed, but they purported to be related to the Israeli-Hamas ceasefire deal, the release. He turned and he said to the strongman leader of Egypt, who took power in a military coup, a guy who Trump in his first term called his favorite dictator, Trump turned to the microphone today in Egypt and he said this. He said, "There was a reason we chose Egypt, because you were very helpful. Everybody wanted to have this. You are a great leader. You have very little crime." And then he said, quote, "I want to thank you. He's been my friend right from the beginning during the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton. Have you heard of her?" He's gesturing to the president of Egypt and saying, he's been my friend from the beginning during the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton. Why is he talking about Hillary Clinton today? Today, in the midst of everything else. Why is he talking about Hillary Clinton in Egypt? How in the heck does Hillary Clinton have anything to do with him being in Egypt, with his relationship with the president of Egypt? Yeah, it turns out, funny story.
And yeah, $10 million which he injects into his campaign as a Loan. And it's not a donation, it's remember, a loan, meaning he expected to get it back. Now here's where it gets even a little bit weirder. 5 days before he inaugurated, an organisation tied to the Egyptian intelligence withdraws almost exactly $10 million in cash from the National Bank of Egypt. I'm talking bundles of $100 bills stacked in 2 massive bags weighing around 200 pounds. That's nearly all of US dollar cash reserves this Egyptian government had on hand at the time. And then proof, gone. No trace, nobody know where it went. It's not just a throwaway comment. He's generally insistent about it. Even now he keeps repeating variations of "my friend from the beginning" during the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton. Now, it's strange about the Hillary Clinton because what exactly did this relationship accomplish back in 2016? Did it have anything to do with those final crucial weeks when he suddenly could find the $10 million to fund his campaign, or is it something entirely else?
In Donald Trump's 2016 run for president against Hillary Clinton, one of the unexplained twists in that campaign was that Trump picked a foreign leader to call his favorite dictator during the campaign, which is not a typical thing that an American presidential candidate might do. You might think that the American people might not like that, but Trump went out on a limb and did that anyway. Before he was elected, during the campaign, he singled out the military strongman leader of Egypt as his favorite dictator. He actually showered him with all sorts of inexplicable praise. And I mean, it was inexplicable because, this is not something for which there's like a big domestic audience during a presidential campaign. Why do you want to vote for somebody for president who's praising who his favorite dictator is and why he likes this military strongman abroad? It was so weird. But he was really sort of insistent about it just a few weeks before Election Day, as Donald Trump's campaign was running out of money. And it really looked like he was going to lose to Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump, at the height of the 2016 presidential campaign, he took a one-on-one meeting with the president of Egypt. And he came out of that meeting and he called the president of Egypt a, quote, fantastic guy.
Here's again where it gets strange. Nobody in the press has definite answers. It's just this open-ended, almost surreal part of political history. So picture this: Egypt, the national bank, hundreds of thousands in cash, a presidential campaign that's struggling to stay afloat, and a candidate who suddenly finds $10 million. It's like a plot twist in a movie, except it's actually real life and the implications are staggering. How does one even begin to track a story like that when the investigation was actively shut down? And even more, how does that tie back to the constant stream of graduate Trump expresses towards a foreign leader whose government operates in ways that would make most American advisors squirm? And it's not just about the money, there's personal connectional angle. Trump repeatedly frames an Egypt president as a friend, a key ally who helped him during the campaign. He's acknowledging some kind of debt or favour, but he's not actually explaining it. Not explicitly anyway. And yet he's in public, in Chiaro, bringing up Hillary Clinton again. Tying all this together, it's like watching someone drop pieces of a puzzle, but never actually showing the picture.
Fantastic. And Cyprus, Egypt, the European Union, it's a lot of countries. France, thank you very much, Emmanuel. I would imagine Emmanuel standing someplace behind me. Where is he? I can't believe it. You're taking a low-key approach today. He's my friend. That's great. Good job. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Germany, the new chancellor of Germany he's easy to spot because he's very tall and he's very smart and he's doing a fantastic job for his country. Appreciate it very much. And congratulations, a big election. That was a big one. That was going to change things. Greece, we have Greece. We have Hungary. Oh, Victor, where is Victor? Victor. We love Victor. Victor, I call him. I put the little accent on it. You are fantastic, all right? I know a lot of people don't agree with me, but I'm the only one that matters. You are fantastic. He's a great leader. I endorsed him the last election he had, and he won by 28 points. So you're going to do even better this time. You have another election, and you're going to do great, and we appreciate it, and we're behind you 100%. That's Hungary. India is a great country with a very good friend of mine at the top, and He's just done a fantastic job, and I think that Pakistan and India are going to live very nicely together, right? That's not a very, they are. And they're two great, I tell you, leaders, great leaders as far as I'm concerned. Indonesia, we covered, and I just want to say that that's a big country, a powerful country. It does unbelievably well, and it's great to have you. Iraq, we have Iraq with lots of oil. They have so much oil, they don't know what to do with it.
And now, the more you think about it, the more questions you start asking yourself. How much of that 10 million actually went to the campaign directly? Or did it ever even go towards the campaign? Was it conditional in any way? Or was it just a part of the unexplainable calculus of the election? And let me just say, I was generally surprised when I heard the clip. I had to actually rewind it. It's one thing to thank a foreign leader for ongoing diplomatic work. It's another thing entirely to tie that gratitude explicitly to a domestic campaign fight for 7 years ago. It's a kind of statement that invites scrutiny, and it makes you wonder what's left unexplored, because the public reporting at the time was significant but largely buried under day-to-day chaos of the election. Think about it. Here's a candidate out of money, meeting with a foreign leader, suddenly able to infuse millions, $10 million into his campaign. Then a few years later, he's still publicly thanking the same leader in a way that references the campaign against Hillary Clinton. Isn't that a little bit weird?
That if Donald Trump, was elected president, the United States would be a, quote, loyal friend to Egypt. And then when Trump, in fact, was elected, he very much made good on that. He brought the president of Egypt to be one of his first guests at the White House. Egypt, really? He showered him with totally unqualified praise. What's that about? Then he gave Egypt nearly $200 million that his own Trump-appointed State Department leadership opposed him giving. Then he gave them more than $1 billion after that. He just loved the president of Egypt. Couldn't do enough for the president of Egypt. Couldn't say why he loved him so much, but he just kept pouring it on. What was that about?
I want to thank you. Another one. We've been my friends right from the beginning during the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton.
That was today. He's been my friend right from the beginning during the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton. I want to thank you. Something about his love for Egypt's president goes back to his campaign against Hillary Clinton in 2016. What could that be? Oh, right.
To be totally honest, I can't wrap my head around it. $10 million in cash, packed into bags, and disappearing from a bank. I mean, imagine if that happened anywhere else in the world. It would be dominant headlines for months. They wouldn't be able to stop speaking about it. Because of the way the Justice Department handled it, it essentially vanished from official records. And now, years later, Trump references it casually, almost if it's just part of a larger narrative of loyalty and friendship. But there's an unresolved tension there. Was that money part of a legitimate campaign contribution? Or was it a loan? Was it something else entirely? And it's also worth noting how he frames it publicly. He doesn't just say, thank you for your support. He says, we've been friends from the beginning. During the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton, he's anchoring the gratitude in a very specific historical moment, and that's the part that's so strange. Normally, presidential gratitude is about policy or strategic cooperation or international achievements. This entirely wrapped up in a campaign fight 7 years earlier, and is delivered in a way that feels very deliberate.
Last year, there was landmark reporting from the Washington Post, including our own Carol Leonnig, about one of the Justice Department investigations into Donald Trump that was shut down by his appointees once he became president. This was the headline, quote, $10 million cash withdrawal drove secret probe into whether Trump took money from Egypt. Now, when this story was published by the Washington Post, Trump's campaign, of course, called it fake news. But here's what that reporting said. During his campaign in 2016 against Hillary Clinton, the Trump campaign really had run out of money. His advisors were begging him to put in more of his own money into the campaign, and he was reportedly saying, no, he couldn't do it, or at least he wouldn't do it. But then he met with the president of Egypt, this inexplicable meeting he took at the height of the campaign with the president of Egypt. And somehow, shortly thereafter, he changed his mind about how much money he could give to his campaign. Yes, suddenly he could give $10 million of his own money to his campaign in the last crucial weeks before the election. He had somehow come up with $10 million that he felt he could afford to give his campaign. Interestingly, at the time, it was little noticed, but he said he would give that $10 million as a loan, not as a donation, so that meant he would expect to be paid back that $10 million. Donald Trump, at the very last minute, supercharges his 2016 campaign with a $10 million loan right at the end. He then does win the election. Does Donald Trump ever get that $10 million back?
And the more I think about it, the more I realise that isn't just a quirky anecdote from a foreign trip. This is a window into the ways political relationships and campaigns funding can overlap in ways that the public will rarely see. And it leaves open this whole space for speculation and interpretation. Even the simplest explanation, he was thanking a friend, doesn't quite hold up when you layer in the timing, the money, the sudden availability of $10 million in cash, and the shuttered investigation. That's the thing about political history. It's rarely neat. It's messy, overlapping, full of unanswered questions. And in this case, it's tied to cash, to campaign strategy, to international diplomacy, and to curious persistence of public acknowledgement.
He may or may not have been good for, I don't know. But the Justice Department reportedly found that 5 days before he was inaugurated, mysteriously, an organization linked to the Egyptian intelligence service withdrew almost exactly $10 million in cash from the National Bank of Egypt. They stuffed bundles of $100 bills into two huge bags that weighed a combined 200 pounds. It was nearly all the US dollar cash reserves that the Egyptian government had. 200 pounds of cash. $10 million cash loaded into bags and taken out of the National Bank of Egypt. And poof, nobody knows where that money went. Now, for seasoned investigators, like you'll find in the upper echelons of the US Justice Department, it is theoretically possible to find where money like that might have gone. But under Bill Barr, the Trump Justice Department shut down that investigation, so the relevant bank accounts were never looked at. What potentially could have been a gigantic bribe to Donald Trump to aid his 2016 campaign was never traced. And so no one knows to this day officially why exactly Trump, all these years later, is still thanking the strongman leader of Egypt for something he did to help Trump in his 2016 campaign against Hillary Clinton.
I want to thank you. Another one. We've been my friends right from the beginning during the campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton.
Still thanking him all these years later. Front of mind whenever he sees the president of Egypt all these years later.
So now every time I hear that phrase, from the beginning, during a campaign against crooked Hillary Clinton, I can't help but think there's a story there, a thread we only partially see. And it's one that might explain a lot about how this campaign and these relationships really work behind the scenes. It's the kind of thing that stays with you. You think you understand one piece of it and then another detail pops up in a meeting, a withdrawal of cash, a public acknowledgement, and suddenly everything feels a lot bigger, more intricate and more unresolved than you ever imagined. And that's why I keep coming back to it, replaying it, questioning, because it's not just a line in a speech. It's a lens into a moment into political history that still resonates in ways we're only beginning to unpack.